So we're going to move on to the AI and Lua section now. Lua means moon, okay? It's not Lua. And just in case anybody's interested, you can go check it out at lua.org, and you can learn all about Lua, which is, I believe, an open source scripting format. Someone correct me if I'm wrong. I'm not an expert on it.
And if you want to check out Luna, just stand outside and look up for a while, and you'll see this big white orb.
There you go, and that's why the logo is what it is. So then, that being said, what are your thoughts on AI and Lua? So, question 1. Everyone waits with bated breath.
Do you want me to ask the question, or?
Right back. No, it's all right. What are some of the first tasks you'll see the AI be capable of performing? Taxi driving, turret manning, repairing?
Yeah.
Kaiman. No. Bad. No ponies.
I said taxi driving.
No, I mean, there's a guy in chat on the stream called Kaiman. He's asking for ponies.
Oh, okay.
No.
Well, we're talking about AI and Lua right now, so wait for the creatures section. Yeah, so what do you expect people are going to be using the AI for? Is the question.
Well, those are some of the basic tasks. Yes. Now there's some simple fleet options like formations, follow, guard. Patrolling.
Yeah, I've seen some of those.
The AI is going to be able, ideally, to do what the Bobby is already doing. We're going to try and phase the Bobby out and use the AI crew to do things, and the Bobby AI will be a luxury feature since it's just a block that you place, and it doesn't have some person wandering around that may or may not have oxygen needs, things like that.
That's going to spawn a lot of questions.
I'm sure it is, but I'll likely have to wait till the next question and answer.
We've got 30 seconds until the chat explodes, so...
It says the ship AI will use the same function as as Dave.
Right.
Whoops.
So that would mean you'd like to... Because, people will probably immediately be thinking, but I only got 5 crew members, and I've got 20 turrets, so how can I put crewmen in, and for example?
Think of your crewmen like an away team. They're the ones you can actively control. What you can do with your other crew members is you can set them to a task and leave them to it. They'll continue doing that task as long as they're alive and the task is there for them to do. The active crew members, the 5 that you're limited to, they're kind of like the away team that runs around with you. If you get in a firefight, they're going to be in a firefight with you.
Yep. So if you leave Dave salvaging a planet, go off to eat your lunch, forget about it, and log in the next day, there might be no planet left.
Yeah.
Or he might stop when his inventory is full, whichever is scripted for, I guess.
Actually, I would assume he would stop when his inventory is full because that is a limitation that's going to be implemented. You won't have infinite stacks.
Right. But then if you have a ship comprised of Plex storage, is he going to be able to put his stuff in a Plex storage, or will he, or do you have to script that yourself, or you know what I'm saying? Because with it being open, that implies people can write their own for modded servers and such, or whatever,
I would imagine he could put stuff in a Plex storage.
Because then, yeah, you've got macro miners, box, Interesting. And yeah, obviously repairing your ship. You've already dropped the bomb earlier, but nobody noticed that the repair beam will replace blocks. Did I hear that right? You better slap me if I'm wrong.
That's only for a system that Cal is working on himself that may never end up in the game.
Fair enough. So that's
right. But with that system, ideally, what will happen is you'll have an Astrotech beam, right? You get hit by a missile, it takes out a chunk of blocks. Now, the Astrotech beam can't just shoot itself or shoot the ship. It's going to have to be on a turret or be on a separate ship entirely. But what can happen is you can have an inventory linked to that Astrotech beam. It will take like the missing blocks. It
for
would be
example?
like it wouldn't be the actual blueprint of your ship. You don't have
Like
to
a
save it.
cache.
Yeah, it would be a cache. That's a good word for it. It's
Yeah.
a block placement cache,
Yeah,
and it's determined when you leave build mode, or when
got
you
ya.
would leave like a station, right? Like you go to a
Yeah.
station, you go to a dry dock, you tell it, hey, this is what I want my ship to be like when it gets repaired. It
Yeah.
will save that as a cache. That's what your HP will be based on. You get hit, you'll lose HP, those blocks will be removed, but the Astrotech will know where to place those blocks when they get replaced. It will
Right.
replace the blocks, and then they'll either be fully repaired when they're placed, or they'll be and have to heal them up as well.
Got ya.
That's minor stuff, like whether or not which of those two options it does, we don't know yet.
That's great. That sounds excellent.
So repairing a ship will actually take power, it'll take time, and it'll take blocks.
Right.
There's also the same option at a station. Say you have a trashed ship, right?
Yep.
You manage to limp back to your home base. You could go to a repair dock, a space dock, dock your ship, and have it use faction inventory blocks to use Astrotech beams and repair your ship back to full functionality.
Awesome. A lot of people ask for that functionality. So, I mean, yeah, okay, cool. Does anybody want to add anything on that one? I'm trying so
I'll
hard
add
not to
something.
jump in and add things myself, you know.
I'll add something to it.
Yeah.
Just as you can repair, ideally, now this is at the repair dock, you're not able to salvage ships in combat. But ideally,
Okay.
at a repair dock, say if you have a trash ship and you don't want it anymore, you
Yep.
could conceivably tell it to do the opposite of repairing,
Drag
which
it
is
in and
just
suck it up.
disassemble your ship.
Beautiful.
Then you get the blocks or you get the credits.
Apex's scrapyard in Nullsec.
Yep.
Hey,
You could have a crusher.
Slightly on that concept to
Catch up.
disassemble a ship.
A ship crusher. That sounds
Inside
excellent.
or within the realm of normal Starmade, not just this concept that you've been, well, for lack of a better phrase, cooking on your own time. Would we be able to have salvage beams linked to a chest instead of dumping into our inventory, or would we have to get out of our ship or something and then dump our inventory?
Salvage beams are planned to be linked to chests.
Beautiful.
They're also going to demand power.
Oh, beautiful.
Stack sizes are going to be limited. So this is going to prevent or make it a lot more difficult to make these giant planet-eating ships, because
Yeah.
that amount of salvaging is going to far exceed anyone's power supply.
And you'll
I
over
see more
encumber.
salvage turrets in the future.
So, for example,
I point
cargo
something
adds
out?
mass.
Guys, I'm sorry, I can't hear three people at once.
Sorry.
I was just
What were
saying,
you
so
asking?
cargo adds mass.
That's something we've talked about.
Would make a lot of sense, to be honest. About it.
All right. Scheme is saying the linking system used for weapons will also be
Yep.
used for linking salvage to inventory. So,
Excellent.
side effect of my idea is that something we've wanted is going to be possible.
Okay, that is beautiful. I've wanted that for a long time as well, because it makes sense.
Can I point something out?
Beautiful. Yeah.
I don't know if this is still in effect, but in the earlier versions, when I first started fiddling with salvage ships, salvage beams would actually either add power or decrease the amount of power used by engines.
Really? I never noticed that.
Yeah, my ship was underpowered but like over thrusted, so it drained through the power. But if I flew whilst firing the salvage beams, it would drain power slower.
Oh, that's weird. Well, just sort of going back, I was going to ask you, but didn't, and then like 3 people did. So, with this whole ability to deconstruct ships / repair ships, would that also imply an ability to have a shipyard type structure, which could effectively build your ships instead of them just, and I quote, puffing in?
Yes, that's I've talked with Schema about possibilities for having a space dock, building ships, repairing ships, disassembling ships. It's a possibility. it's another one of my harebrained ideas.
Yeah, yeah. Okay.
But this one's it has some obvious things, like he wants docks. You know, they exist already. You have station docks, so I'm just trying to add some logical functionality to them.
Well, does anybody else have anything to add on this question? I want to move through them a little bit quicker, I think.
Doctors?
Sorry, what?
NPC doctors, like, they basically repair you. You got, like, they just...
Yeah, that would be NPCs using the astronaut repair systems like we were talking about earlier. Just having
I
an
think
NPC
so,
do the
yeah.
same thing.
That's
So yes,
good.
I would see those.
Okay.
As far as what we're looking at, the blocks in storage, like you have, 1,000 holes in your Plex storage, that won't add mass to a ship, but you will have limited stack size. So, I mean, like you won't be able to have infinite amount of blocks on a ship anymore.
Right. Yeah. I
but,
see what you're saying.
But it will only add the mass of the Plex storage system itself.
Yeah. Okay, cool. I can't wait to see my army of Dave clones set to work on a planet salvaging useless red rock.
Is
That'll be
that
good.
really what he's called?
What, Dave? Yeah, of course it
Dave.
is. It's official.
Why not something like Leslie?
Just
call
like
them
the
all
default
Dave.
skin in Minecraft is Steve.
We called ours Reginald.
Reginald.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
it
like
just
that,
makes
Reginald.
sense. Yeah. He was on the bridge.
I'm
when we
Jonathan
first
Watts,
checked
here
it
with
out.
Reginald.
Okay, so I'm going to move on to the next question. If anyone else, quickly before I do, is nope. Okay, so then, what parts of the game do you imagine being programmed in a released version of Starmade? You talked about crews, but about things like factories, drones, and turrets. We might have covered factories. Programmable.
I swear we have different lists.
I think someone needs to link me with the updated list because I'm running off what we had last night. So somebody link it to me, please. Because otherwise I'm going to be asking questions no one's heard of. Anybody?
Sorry, I can answer that one, but you'll have to go over it again because
Have you
yeah.
got one which is on on a link? Could you send it what you have in front of you to me? Because obviously what I have is
I think someone just
been
linked
changed.
it.
Thank you very much, my friend. Right then. And now this
Right,
makes a
but
lot of sense.
What was that question again, though? Just because it's already been asked.
That question was programmable factories, drones, and turrets like crews. I think, to be honest, after reading it, we probably covered it, which is why it's not on the list.
Oh, it got reworded to make it make more sense.
Oh no, there is an answer in here for that one.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. I'm getting all thrown around here.
Sorry, bud. There is
Right,
an answer here. Sorry,
The
mate.
goal is to make it as customizable as possible without putting a negative or without putting the performance and scalability in danger. So we want to be able to add options, what the AI can do. But if you have 10,000 crew members on a ship, it's going to negatively affect things. Right, if you program the computer to ram every planet it comes across, it's going to negatively affect things. We're going to try and not cater to that sort of thing. Not saying that it's directly prevented, but like don't have an option in the Lua saying ram planet.
Gotcha. Yeah, don't ram planet. That would be a good AI rule. I'd have all of mine set to that. Okay. So,
Actually, that is a good AI setting to not approach a planet closer than a certain distance. That would prevent a lot of
just hold position
AIs having issues.
when you reach out. See, I've seen something stop.
Have you ever seen now, have you ever had a flight of ice ants tailing you, and a good trick to get rid of them is to buzz over a planet, right? They'll drop down because they don't know how to fly up. So they'll crash land on the planet, and you keep going.
Oh, I thought it was always they didn't have the thrust to get out, but
they
yeah.
don't know to fly up when in a gravity field. They have the thrust.
Right.
The AI currently
They're trying to fly forwards.
Yeah,
just grinding.
they're not smart enough.
Right. Okay. Right then. So next question: will AI ever board us? Included will boarding ships be expanded upon? So grav boots and hull cutting lasers.
That's more astronaut equipment, and hopefully, yes, we will have AI and even player systems like that.
Okay. I'm glad I finally found the same questions, so we should be able to pick up the pace a little bit. Will there ever be an autopilot that allows you to auto-fly to the designated waypoint?
Yes, that's a definite possibility, and many people ask for it. So,
Okay. Once the Lua support is fully integrated, could I script, say, a single-player Mass Effect parody game inside Starmade?
sorry. Yeah, I mean, things like that are the ultimate goals, where you can emulate different sci-fi experiences or make up your own.
Yeah.
And then there will be the default Starmade sci-fi experience.
Like full RPG conversions from familiar franchises.
Like
Well,
the
I wouldn't say
X-Wing.
full, but very good mock-ups.
Close.
Yeah.
Yeah, enough for roleplay use.
Like a sandbox voxel version of the X series.
I think the stream chat is on the verge of crying for straight up removal of asteroids from Starmade, because they just don't seem to get the hint that asteroids are not the cause of lag or corruption.
Yeah,
No.
unless you modify an asteroid, it's part of the sector generation, which is really low on the performance hit. So unless you have someone flying around shooting, modifying, and being every asteroid they see, it's not going to be a huge data hit. And when you're not in a sector, it goes inactive after a time and is saved in your server storage. So the amount of asteroids causing impact is really, really low. Most of the impact on the server is from player ships being in close proximity and being very large.
I would like to just go out on a wing at this point and say that if anyone does find anything, bug reports. There's a manual reporting tool in your install folder. You can run that at any time. Just make sure you put a little note in the chat log so that Schema knows what you're referring to when you're referencing the bug you found.
Yes, that's the entire point of having an open alpha, is for you guys to find these bugs and report them.
That's
I know
what
it's
we
fun
do.
for people to play, but the reason it's an open alpha is to get the bugs found and solved.
Yeah. So, like I said,
And just saying it's broken, fix it, doesn't help us. Tell us what breaks. Write a remark in chat, like Tamino said, to help Schema find out where it's at. Send in bug reports. You don't have to wait for the game to crash. You can go into your Starmade folder. There's an executable called Bug Report. You can launch that, and it will bring up the same bug report menu. You can even do a bug report when something is working strangely, still working, or even if it works correctly and he wants confirmation that it is working.
to clarify, you don't even have to shut the game down. You can do it there and then. So, yeah. Okay, so we're going to move on. So, can we expect more challenging AI as well as more diversity? An idea that has been suggested is scaling AI up in difficulty as you get farther from the spawn.
Yes. The distance AI is also something that Schema has wanted to do for a while as a natural progression. As you play through the game, things get more difficult.
Excellent,
So
I like that.
At spawn, you may easily be able to get away with a 5-block, little scout ship. But as once you reach 100 sectors away, you might want to be running around with a crew, a battleship, maybe some escort fighters, whatever. This is in-game, kind of like all the backup support you'll want.
You could have a deep null for combat, and it's like 500 sectors out. It only spawns the biggest pirates or something. And lots of them.
Are there plans for
Yeah,
bigger default pirates?
Sorry, Apex?
I'm saying, are there plans for bigger default pirates? Because at the moment, iSynths are, they're scary for half an hour, but then...
You can make your own, though, can't you? So it's sort of open.
Currently, you can make your own, and the way the game works by default is that every ship you save, pirates have access to. Most people turn that off because they don't want pirates to have access to their ships.
Yeah.
That was the original logic, was that as you made more difficult ships, the pirates had access to them, and you were forced to progress to continue to counteract that.
Yeah.
Yes, pirates will become more difficult, not just in their AI capabilities, but in the size of the... we should be able to add in more ship sizes for the default AIs besides just the ISANT, so that, say, once you're at a point where you can be fighting battleships at the right area, battleships will spawn for the pirates to fight you. Default battleships that aren't taking any player blueprints. Now, the AI difficulty also, again, ties in with when you start a faction and as you expand your territory, the difficulty of the AI close to your faction is going to be lowered. So having a large base will make things easier in that area. It'll be easier to mine. It'll be safer to do things for your faction members.
Right. Okay.
Not to
Anybody want
interrupt.
to say anything on that?
Not to interrupt, but
I have one question regarding
Sorry, Zero.
pirate
Quickly.
ships and AI-controlled ships and such.
Hang on a sec, Zero. Sorry, what was that, Ryben? Quickly, you said you needed to interrupt
yeah, I
us.
just wanted to make sure that y'all could hear me. I think my stream is back up. I think I fixed my internet.
Okay, well, I
I'm
don't mind
hoping.
handing back over to you for a bit if you want to do that. Am I nearly at the end of the section? Yeah, I'm nearly at the end, so I can
I'll let you
pass
finish
back
this
for
one now.
modding if you want. Yeah, no problem at all.
Sure.
And Zero, what were you going to say, my friend?
My question is pertaining to AI-controlled ships. Will we eventually have the ability to set different ships for use by trading guild than pirates, or are they both going to be forced to use the same ships?
This is something I've mentioned with Schema. Is I think myself, other people, it's just logical to want a folder that you could set up for
The trade guild.
for any NPC guild.
Yeah.
Right? And then you can upload blueprints to specific NPC guilds. They would have a difficulty level
Oh, that would be beautiful.
based on their math. So every NPC faction would have a divided set of blueprints of NPC skins. Yeah, I guess the answer is yes, but it wouldn't be just trade and just pirates. Say if you're on a server and you want Klingons, Romulans, and you can have as many factions as you want. In the end, I think that would be something we would aim for. Again, I can't speak for Schema. I haven't actually asked him this, but I don't see why you couldn't just add another faction in your server setup.
That's beautiful. I think that's a really elegant way of doing it, and you'll probably see people releasing fleet-themed packs for server owners to just chuck
Oh, I
on.
hope so.
That would be amazing.
That would be amazing.
Yeah, I like that. Okay, so with that being said, I'm just gonna say we're going to be doing the modding section next. We've got the turrets and docking, creatures, crafting, FTL, and many things more slated. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hand back over to Ryben. Mainly what I do is YouTube, so obviously I like to, Ryben's our streaming man of the hour, so what we're going to be doing is passing you straight back over there. The link's going to be going in the chat. He is live right now.
Do we have a dual stream link for?
There
I
is
think
a dual
that'll be a
stream
better
link.
way
Yeah,
to do
it's,
it and switch
EFSF
between.
I
Ryben.
think the masses don't believe you, Cal, when you say
They're in here.
asteroids don't cause lag by default.
I really can't get into an argument over that. I don't know.
Anything.
I'm
I
just
know,
going-
I'm just looking at the chat and just kind of laughing at him.
Yeah, if you go around crashing into asteroids, it's the same as crashing into a ship. So it's going to cause some slowdown.
Like we've been talking about, we mentioned earlier how the universe is set up. There's going to be a universe generation rehaul. Things are going to be done differently. You won't have asteroids floating in every sector anymore. It's not going to be an issue. Whether or not it currently is, it won't be in the future. So, moot point.
Oh, by the way, just to people, I'm not going anywhere. I'm just going to be doing exactly what I'm doing now, but obviously Ryben is going to be taking over at this point. Are you ready, mate?
Oh, I am born ready.
Oh, excellent. Right, well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to hand over to you then, sir.
Thank you much. If you want to leave your sound up just in case we have any issues, that would be
no
awesome.
problem.
Can I throw something out while we're talking
Sure.
about the planet, the universe generation again? There is the plan to have the larger planets as well as the two-sided planets, and hopefully, when things like that come along, there may be more focus put into things like ground vehicles, or even allowing ships to be used as ground vehicles. I know there's some mini games involving that. Right now, with the planets how they are, there's not a lot of point to ground vehicles because you can just roll a ship core and 2 seconds later you're at the other side of the planet. So there's a lot that is going to be coming, including increased planet size.
Sounds awesome. And again,
I'm done. Sorry.
You're all right. I want to apologize to everyone. Unfortunately, my internet hates me, and it may go down again. So keep both streams open if it's possible. If you guys want to watch on Mushroom Fleet, it will probably be the more stable. But I am going to run this for as long as I possibly can. If any sound issues pop in, tell me. All right, let's move on to the thing I think I've seen in the chat the second most so far today, modding. So, when do you guys plan to allow modders to mod the game?
We already allow it. We just don't directly support it. It's not because we don't want them, it's just that directly supporting modding right now would slow things too much at the state in the game development. There's just a lot that's going to be changing.
And
yeah, I've always said that if you're going to be running a third-party app on an alpha GAP platform, you better be ready to rewrite your program tomorrow. Because
you're kind of asking for trouble.
Yeah, you're kind of asking for it. So, all power to the people that do. I know Smedit, the guy at Smedit, he does a great job. There's a few other little app developers and bits and pieces. Sorry if I missed you, if you're a guy out there that's developing on Starmade and I didn't give you a mention. But get in touch is the bottom line. But yeah, so moving forward, it's going to be great to see what happens. But I think they should take that as a read.
Yeah, putting mods into an alpha is a lot like putting an NVIDIA GTX 770 into a computer that only has a 500 watt thingamajigger power supply. You're going to break things.
especially until it's all stabilized later on.
Yeah, that's the best analogy I can come up with. You're probably going to blow it up.
I think the answer to anybody who wants to do modding is yes, but later. And also, I think it would be great to point out that there is actually an open source project, which somebody linked already in the chat earlier today. I don't know if it's still up there, but I'll see if I can find it, and I'll link it in the chat. So if you're a modder, developer, you want to make some cool stuff, get in touch with all the other guys that are also doing that. Because, you know, moving forward, you'll know all the people you need to know. When it's a thing, you can just do it. But obviously, we do already have a mod block thing, and you can do a lot, actually, with Starmade as is right now.
We're also trying to add in as much functional customization built into the game as we can. Ideally, this would prevent the need for a lot of modding. You just have to tweak things that you want. You know, add your custom textures, design the ship to look how you want it. You don't have to mod to have a Star Trek ship. You just build it that way.
Yep.
But yes, modding is something that we will encourage more as the game becomes more stable in its features.
And actually, I think that answers the second question on this list, so I figure we could pretty much...
Well, the second question is the specific one, so we'll go ahead and do it.
All right. Is an API planned for modding?
And yes, an API is planned for Starmade once its features are completed. Not just supporting mods, but we plan to have an API just because we've all seen how frustrating not having an API can be as updates come out in another block-oriented game.
Mentioning no names.
No names mentioned here.
Yeah.
All right. So I think, does anybody else have anything else to add at the end of this?